I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses. You know? So in all of these situations, there's a business involved and there's real money involved, and somebody's benefiting from this thing that looks like, oh, that just happened. Nah, no way.
I believe that somebody, my niece, just like her mother.
There was foul play in Bobbi Kristina's
Definitely.
death. Got it.
Yes,
okay.
definitely.
Like
All
that
right.
maybe he drove her.
Definitely.
Wow. Okay.
He was the only one there with both situations, with my ex-wife and with my daughter, and they both died the same way.
For 13 years, the world watched Katt Williams pace the stage, cracking jokes and dropping cryptic one-liners. But behind the glitter of the stage lights and the roar of the crowd, Katt was seeing something the rest of us were too distracted to notice. He was watching a family drown, literally and figuratively, while the music industry just stood there and did nothing. Now, after all that time holding his tongue, Katt has finally decided to rip the bandage off. He's telling us exactly why Bobbi Kristina Brown didn't just accidentally fall asleep in that bathtub. He's connecting dots that law enforcement conveniently ignored. And the picture he's painting, it's not just sad, it's evil. It's the kind of story that makes you look at every celebrity death from the last 20 years and ask one terrifying question: who really benefits when the singing stops? Before we get into the grimy details of what really happened in that Roswell, Georgia townhouse, we have to go back to the beginning. We have to remember who Bobbi Kristina was before the headlines turned her into a tragedy. She was born into a storm. Her mother was Whitney Houston, the voice that redefined music. Her father was Bobby Brown, the bad boy of R&B who danced on the edge of self-destruction. From the moment she took her first breath, cameras were flashing in her face. She didn't get a childhood like the rest of us. While we were riding bikes and scraping knees, she was learning how to navigate the chaos of two superstars who loved each other too hard and fought even harder. You have to understand, watching your mother drown in fame and your father drown in his demons leaves scars that never heal. And Bobbi Kristina carried those scars everywhere she went.
Murdered Bobbi Kristina. When Nick gets arrested, everything will fall like dominoes. There are several people that wanted Bobbi Kristina dead, but I think the purpose of her death was to gain full access to Whitney Houston's estate.
The public only saw the reality show moments. They saw the spoiled daughter rolling her eyes at drama, but behind closed doors, that young woman was grieving a version of her life that never existed. When Whitney died in that Beverly Hills hotel room in 2012, the world lost a singer, but Bobbi Kristina lost her anchor. People forget that Whitney and Bobbi weren't just mother and daughter, they were joined at the hip. Whitney once said in an interview that Chrissy was her reason for breathing. So when that breath stopped in the bathtub, Chrissy's heart stopped too, even if her body kept moving for 3 more years. She started dating Nick Gordon, the young man Whitney had raised as a son, and that's where the fairy tale turned into a horror film. The public saw a girl trying to replace her mother's love with a boyfriend, but Katt Williams wants us to look deeper. He wants us to look at who was whispering in her ear when the cameras turned off.
Losing him was very, very unexpected, just like losing my daughter. He wasn't a user. He would experiment with different things.
Got it.
It wasn't like he was dependent on. My time played a part in my son feeling he could test something.
Right.
You know, and I feel guilty about that.
So you believe that there was foul play in Bobbi Kristina's
Definitely.
death? Got it.
Like
All
that
right.
maybe he drove her.
Definitely.
Wow. Okay.
He was the only one there with both situations, with my ex-wife and with my daughter. I've been clean 19 years from narcotics.
Okay.
I'm going on a year from alcohol.
Now, let's get into the main event. Let's talk about January 31st, 2015. It was a Saturday, a regular winter day in Georgia. Bobbi Kristina was 22 years old. She had the rest of her life ahead of her, or so everyone thought. According to the reports, Nick Gordon found her face down in the bathtub. But here's the first red flag that Katt Williams wants you to chew on. The house wasn't quiet. There were other people there. Friends, hangers-on, people who had access to that house and that young woman. When Nick claimed he found her and started CPR, the timeline immediately started falling apart. Why did it take so long to call for help? Why were there inconsistencies in every single statement given to the police? Bobbi Kristina was rushed to the hospital, placed into a medically induced coma, and the entire country held its breath. But while we were sending prayers, Katt says the people who controlled Whitney's estate were sending lawyers.
Let's pause right here, because the medical details are crucial. The autopsy eventually revealed that Bobbi Kristina didn't just drown. She had a toxic cocktail in her system: drugs for sedation, drugs for anxiety, and substances that should never have been anywhere near a young woman who had just lost her mother to the exact same nightmare. The official cause of death was lobar pneumonia, which developed because she was face down in that cold water while her brain was shutting down from the chemicals. But ask yourself this: how does a 22-year-old end up with the same prescription bottles, the same bathtub scenario, and the same tragic ending as her 48-year-old mother? That's not genetics, that's a blueprint. Katt Williams looked at the timeline and realized something horrifying. The people who managed Whitney's money never liked Bobbi Brown. They saw him as a liability, a drain on the estate. But Bobbi Kristina? She was Whitney's heir. She was the bloodline. And as long as she was alive, the control over Whitney's legacy, the music rights, the royalties, the unreleased tracks, all of that belonged to her. But here is the twist that turns this from a tragedy into a conspiracy. The family didn't stay quiet. Bobbi Brown's aunt, Leola Brown, stepped into the chat like a prophet in a storm. She didn't mince words. She said point blank that Bobbi Kristina was taken out by the industry handlers who wanted full access to Whitney's estate. Let that sink in. A family member, someone who watched that girl grow up, stood in front of cameras and said this wasn't an accident. She said it was a sacrifice. Now, most people would dismiss that as a grieving aunt lashing out. But then Nick Gordon, the boyfriend, was found legally responsible for Bobbi Kristina's death in civil court. They ordered him to pay $36 million to her estate. That's a lot of money for a young man who claimed he tried to save her. But here's the part that makes the hair on your arms stand up. In January 2020, almost 5 years to the day after Bobbi Kristina was found in that tub, Nick Gordon died. He overdosed in a hotel room. Just like that, the man who was ordered to pay the estate is gone. Who collects the money now? You can't make this up. Katt Williams doesn't just throw theories at the wall. He sits back, lights his cigar, and points to the pattern. He says none of these deaths are as coincidental as they look. He says there are gatekeepers behind every velvet rope in Hollywood who benefit when the talent dies young. Look at the injuries on Whitney's body. The autopsy report from 2012 mentioned 2 superficial abrasions on her forehead and 1 on her nose. Those aren't slip and fall injuries. That looks like someone held her face down. The coroner, Ed Winter, the same man who later raised alarms about Kim Porter's death, found numbers of prescription bottles everywhere. But he said the number of pills wasn't enough to kill her. So if the pills didn't do it, and the water didn't just magically appear, what really happened in that hotel room? The emotional impact of this on the Brown family is something you cannot script. Bobbi Brown has lost his ex-wife, his daughter, and his son, Bobby Brown Jr., who also died from an accidental overdose in 2020.
What I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you will be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they keep this $20 million guy, but they reach $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
That's 3 people in one immediate family, all tied to substances and suspicious circumstances. Imagine being a father and having to bury your child, then having to bury your other child, then watching the man who was connected to your daughter's death also die before he could ever tell the truth. Bobbi Brown doesn't smile the same way anymore. His eyes are hollow, and who can blame him? The industry took his family piece by piece, and every time he screamed for help, they offered him a reality show check to be quiet. The emotional weight of losing a child is heavy enough, but losing them while the whole world speculates that they were murdered for money? That's a pain that doesn't have a word for it yet. And let's not forget the fans, the people who grew up listening to Whitney in their mother's kitchens, the people who watched Bobbi Kristina on television and saw a broken young woman begging for someone to save her. There is a collective trauma here. We watched a legacy die in real time. And the hardest part is knowing that if Katt Williams is right, we didn't just watch a tragedy, we watched a cleanup. Because when you look at who controls Whitney Houston's music now, it's not Bobbi Brown. It's not the Brown family. It's the machine. The same machine that books the hologram tours. The same machine that releases the posthumous albums. The same machine that makes millions every time you hear "I Will Always Love You" on a commercial. So here we are, standing at the edge of the truth. Katt Williams finally said what Leola Brown tried to warn us about years ago. Bobbi Kristina wasn't just a girl who made bad choices, she was an obstacle. And in an industry that treats human beings like assets, obstacles get removed. It sounds like a movie, it feels like a nightmare, but the bruises on Whitney's face, the chemical cocktails in Chrissy's system, and the $36 million judgment against a man who is now dead, those are paper trails of something dark. Bobbi wants us to stop looking at the entertainment and start looking at the entourage. He wants us to ask why the same bathtub scenario happened twice. He wants us to ask why the police ruled both deaths accidental when the families are screaming foul play. If this story teaches us anything, it's that fame is a contract written in invisible ink. You think you're signing up for red carpets and Grammys, but sometimes the fine print says that your life is no longer your own. Bobbi Kristina Brown deserved to grow old. She deserved to have children. She deserved to find peace away from the cameras. But she was born into a dynasty that was already cursed. And until someone with real authority opens up those case files and digs past the celebrity gossip, we will never know if she died because of a broken heart or because of a broken system. What do you think? Do you believe Katt Williams is telling the truth about the industry sacrifice? Or is this just a grieving community looking for answers that aren't there? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to click here to watch the next video, because trust me, this story is far from over.